Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Elizabeth. This is my channel. I am so excited you're here. For whatever reason you end up on this video, please stick around. I'm glad you're here. I haven't posted a video on YouTube in over 3 years. I think the last video that I posted was right before lockdown, and a lot of things have changed in the past few years. Obviously, as we all know, it was a roller coaster, a couple of years there, and I'm excited to be picking up the camera again and filming this today. I want to talk about one of the biggest changes in my life I'm so happy to be sitting here talking about today, and that is being 1 year alcohol-free, 1 year sober, which I actually hit last month in February. These types of videos were so important to me really early on when I was thinking about quitting drinking. I feel like I want to contribute to that space for anyone who wants to hear someone talk about being alcohol-free, someone who can share their journey, someone who can be a voice from the future saying, you know, like, you can do this. Because, you know, a year ago when I quit drinking for the last time, I didn't think I'd be sitting here today, a year later, talking about being sober for a year. I definitely want to talk more about this on the channel as well, with more specific content. Today I just kind of want to talk about the year in review and just how the journey has been. Obviously, a year is a long time, especially when you're quitting something or when you're like counting the days. Here I am a year later, which is super exciting. So let's dive in. So let's start at the beginning. Obviously, well, maybe not obviously, quitting drinking, cutting alcohol completely out of your life is not like an overnight decision that you make. For me personally, it was something that I thought about and was learning about and talking about for probably 2 years before I finally quit drinking. And I don't really know at what point that started becoming a sort of conversation that I had with myself, but there was definitely like a before and after, where the before, you know, was alcohol is so fun and drinking is so fun and I love getting wasted and, you know, it's all a good time, it's all funny. And then there was like, something shifted, you know, waking up hungover was just like, oh, why did I do this? I feel horrible. Or, you know, I drank more than I said I was going to. Why did I do that? It makes me feel so ashamed and, I'm so embarrassed about how I behaved last night, or like, what did I say? Did I, you know, hurt someone's feelings? Or there's a point where alcohol like isn't fun anymore, or it's fun but like the consequences or the cost of it becomes higher and more evident in your life. And I want to preface this video by saying that I don't identify as an alcoholic. I don't think that I have a disease. I wouldn't even describe myself as an addict or having an addiction problem. I think that's important to my story because for a long time I believed that you had to hit that rock bottom for there to like be a need for change, where like I'd always justify to myself, you know, like, well, you know, I can not drink during the week and only drink on weekends. And it's not like I wake up in the morning and like I'm drinking vodka. 90% of the time when I was drinking, I was totally fine and fun and nice and cool and not a problem. I had this mentality, and I think a lot of people do, that you have to have a problem or be sick to quit drinking. And that kept me from entertaining the idea that like, hey, maybe I don't need alcohol in my life for longer than I wish it had, you know. It was in that time period when I, you know, had Googled, like I'd had the moment of awareness of like, oh my God, am I an alcoholic? But that sort of like introduced the questioning of alcohol in my life. And from there I started doing more research about alcohol use and alcohol misuse, the idea of like being a gray area drinker, which I think more and more people have talked about since. And like I had never heard of that. And I realized that like, okay, I am a gray area drinker, and a lot of people that I hang out with are gray area drinkers, and sort of having that internal dialogue and like talking with friends about it too. And I have a friend who is in the program, who did the 12-step program and has been a sponsor and has been part of the AA community for quite some time, and they really took me under their wing when I had realized that like, oh, maybe I don't want to drink. And then like the second realization of like, oh, it's really hard to drink less or not drink, you know, talked me through things and let me vent and shared their story. And that's how I ended up going to my first AA meeting. I guess it was January 2021, because I said, okay, I'm doing dry January. I'm not gonna drink for the month of January. And I made it like to January 3rd or 4th, I don't remember what day it was exactly, before I drank, and felt like absolute trash, on top of feeling, you know, so embarrassed that I like couldn't make it a week into January without drinking. So my friend took me to an AA meeting. That meeting for me was a huge pivotal moment. I didn't stop drinking after that meeting. When I came to this meeting, I was so hungover, felt like absolute rubbish. I'd never been to an AA meeting. I'd obviously seen it in like TV and stuff, and everyone got up and shared, and it was so cool to see adults being so vulnerable and open and supportive. And there was a couple things that really stuck with me. One was the serenity prayer, which has become an anchor in my life and applies to so much more than just alcohol. Sort of like addresses the root problem of human angst. One thing that someone said is, you know, like, alcohol is fun until it's not fun. And when it becomes not fun, you have two choices. You continue, and it's just like a struggle and cycle that you put yourself through constantly without any sort of reward. Like, what are you getting out of it? Or you can cut one thing out to gain everything. And that has stuck with me since. At the end of the meeting, if you've ever seen an AA meeting on TV and stuff, people get chips for milestones that they stay sober. And they handed out a few chips, and at the very end, you know, the guy handing out the chips goes, okay, and now for the most important chip, is anyone here for the first time? And I did not raise my hand, but my friend raised his hand for me, and I got my 24-hour chip, which I'd not been sober for 24 hours. Never actually gotten any other ones. I came back to this chip so many times. And it reads, "To thine own self be true." And on the back is the serenity prayer, which I do want to share if I can do it without crying. God grant me the serenity to accept things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. When everyone said it at that meeting together, it was like a light bulb went on. Like I said, I didn't actually stop drinking after that meeting. I drank for another year and a bit. And that year was really, really rough for me. Not because I drank more than usual, but because I was in this like weird limbo where I knew that something had to change, and I was super resistant to it. So I tried to pretend like everything was fine, and I tried to keep making alcohol fun because that's what was comfortable to me, and that's what I knew. And I was in therapy at the time still. There was so much work that went into that year, really like breaking down my values, who I wanted to be, what was important to me, and whether alcohol fit into that picture. And I tried a lot of times that year to quit drinking, you know, with little success, but every time that I did, I learned something new. When I quit drinking for the last time, on February 2nd, 2022, 2/2/22, which I didn't realize until this year. All of my past slip-ups were a part of my success this time. Like in the beginning, when you're trying to make it stick and you're really struggling and you just keep falling down and it feels like you're not gonna get it. Every day that you don't drink, every day that you slip up is a lesson learned and is a stepping stone and a building block that will pave the foundation of your sobriety in the long run. On February 1st, I had my last drink, and it's funny, I like don't even remember what it was. So many times before that I was like, well, if I'm gonna stop drinking, you know, I should have this incredible craft cocktail for my last drink, or an IPA. It's my favorite beer. And I literally have no idea what my last beverage was. I remember holding it, sitting on the couch, and I was like, I'm done. And I actually was done. I have been done. I've been done for a whole year. And let me tell you, because I feel like when you watch these videos, everyone always says the same thing. It's so good. It's so good on this side. I didn't know that I could be this confident and this happy and proud of myself. And quitting drinking doesn't make your problems go away. In fact, it sucks because not only do your problems not go away, you also have to be like totally present for them all the time. because you can't check out. But the peace I have cultivated in my life, the relationships that I have nurtured and grown, if me from the future could sit down and talk to myself on February 1st when I was drinking my last drink, like, I wouldn't have believed it. So that being said, if you're in the pits, I know me saying like, oh, it's so good on the side and it's so worth it and you're going to get there doesn't mean shit. If you can take it one day at a time, it's worth just seeing if you like it. You can always drink again. That's like, you know, that's not going anywhere anytime soon. But maybe if drinking isn't working for you, maybe there's a better life where you don't drink. And I always thought these videos with all these sober, happy people was like so culty, you know, but they're onto something. It's really nice. My camera died, so I had a moment to compose myself and make a celebratory cocktail. This is a non-alcoholic cocktail, obviously. I made myself a mojito because we have so much mint growing in our backyard. It's the only thing that by accident we brought with us. We have a planter that we had like thrown away an old dead mint plant in, and it's just taken over, and that whole planter is full of mint, and I just happen to have all the ingredients. Mint, Liar's white cane spirit, so good, soda water, and splash mixer. I don't actually have any limes, but the splash mixer is actually quite good. If there's one thing I can say, since getting sober, I'm more of a drink girly than I've ever been. I'll make a separate video about like all my favorite alternatives or like my favorite non-alcoholic cocktails or drinks that I like to sip on. Like I said earlier, I have genuinely had more fun, more fulfillment, more joy in my life since I stopped drinking than I did before. And that's just, I think that's just on growth and confidence, like true confidence. Feeling aligned with my values, feeling like I always show up as the person that I want to show up as opposed to being like, oh, I don't know, you know, I was drunk and I didn't feel like I acted like myself or I have to apologize for myself. Everything that I do now is with full integrity and is fully genuine, and that doesn't mean that it's always comfortable or fun or okay, but it's always something that I can stand behind, and that's something that I wanted so badly that I don't think I realized that I wanted when I was drinking. That's something that I was really missing in my life, and I've gotten that back. I don't really know what else to cover in this video. If you are in a place right now where you're either trying to stop drinking or you're thinking about not drinking, or you haven't gotten that far, you're just trying to figure out if you have a problem, like, forget that question altogether. I don't think that that should really matter. I think the biggest question that I would suggest someone ask themselves is alcohol bringing anything good to my life? And that's like a very serious question. Like, write it down. And it's an uncomfortable question because like not drinking in a society where everybody drinks, where it's, you know, not the norm not to drink, it can be really hard to even like consider that as an option. But you don't have to drink. And there's plenty of people that don't drink. And there's plenty of young people that don't drink. And you don't have to be an alcoholic to not drink. You don't have to hit a rock bottom to not drink. You can just wake up today and say, hey, alcohol doesn't really bring anything good into my life. I'm not gonna drink. And you don't even have to say, I'm not gonna drink ever again. You can say, I'm not drinking tonight, or I'm not drinking this weekend, or I'm not drinking this week or this month. Just introducing that question of like, why do I drink is such, people don't get to that point, you know? Like, you don't question it. It never occurred to me then that like, I didn't have to drink, you know? It was just what we did, and it's just what everyone else did, so that's what I did. And more people are talking about this now, which is why it's so important for me to share my story. I would love for young people to see this video or to see me living an alcohol-free life and think, oh, you don't have to fit in any box to not drink. And you can live a fulfilling, fun, feral life not drinking. Obviously, there's a lot more to talk about. If you have any questions, literally anything at all, leave it down in the comments. Maybe I'll do a Q&A video. I'd love to do a video about literature that helped me stop drinking, things that worked for me. my favorite non-alcoholic beverages, what I order at bars and restaurants. Like, I have lots of ideas, but leave questions down in the comments, any videos that you want to see, any questions that you have. I feel like I want to be really transparent about this part of my life. It's obviously a huge part of who I am, and a huge part of what I want this channel to be about, because it is, you know, the foundation of my wellness. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for being here. If you are in a bad place, there is always help. I'll leave some resources in my description. There is always a meeting near you. Just because I didn't do the program doesn't mean that it doesn't work. It works. And if anything, I think it's worth, like, if you are in a bad place or you just want to hear other people's stories, going to an AA meeting in your area. There's always some going on. I'll leave a resource for that down below as well. You can always find a meeting that's close to you. It's anonymous. It's incredible, even if you don't say anything, to feel supported and hear stories from other people who have gone through it. It's not a shameful, isolating experience. Like, there is a community that, whether that's in the program or just the sober community online, there are strangers out here, myself included, that are rooting for you. I'm literally gonna cry again. Check out the description for resources, leave your comments down below, and I'll make more videos. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this video reached you if you needed to see it. I appreciate you being here. I hope you have a great rest of your day or night or weekend. You don't have to drink today if you don't want to. Yeah, 1 year sober, super proud of myself, super happy with the life I've built, and I'm so excited to be on this journey and sharing it online. That's crazy. I would have never thought I'd be here. So lots of love. Thank you. And I will see you in my next video.